Welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of July 1st, 2019. Every week we chat about the things parents are talking about, complaining about, and obsessing about right now. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
And Terry Morrow.
Hello.
This week we're complaining about birthdays and obsessing about holiday celebrations, plus taking a couple of breaks for an entertainment discussion and a recommendation roundup. But today we're talking about things we shouldn't be talking about because this is what happened to me. I was chatting with a friend and she just straight up asked me what my daughter's ACT score was. And I was so caught off guard and shocked by this question that I answered it, and I really felt terrible afterwards because, you know, that was none of her business.
Right.
And I should have just said, all I had to do was say, like, oh, I don't think she would want me to talk about it. You know?
Yeah.
And I would have gotten out of it.
But
but
when you think of it
it's so
a minute
easy,
later.
Right. In retrospect. So,
yes.
You know, I mean, there's nothing really to be done about that experience now, but God, like, what do you do when you get caught like that?
Right. It's awkward.
It was so awkward.
This is a situation that one finds oneself in frequently when one has adopted children with special needs, because people feel entitled to the story.
Yeah.
What happened to their real mom? Or what's wrong with him? Or and it's like part of my brain is saying none of your business, while the other part is saying, well, we adopted them this day from this, and this is the situation. So why am I telling people this? It's none of their business. It's violating my children's privacy. But we have like no social construct for none of your darn business.
Or denying people of, like, if they're wanting to use something or borrow something or
yeah,
that maybe yours or your child's, and it's like, no.
Yes. Yeah, it's like we want our children to learn how to share, but there's some things that it's not appropriate to share, either information or items that belong to you.
Yeah.
But you it's hard to know how to make that decision in real time.
Right.
And then explain it to yourself and to your loved ones later.
Yeah.
You don't want to seem selfish, but on the other hand, you don't have to let people borrow everything.
Right.
You want to have things that are special to you.
How do you say that? And how do you remember what to say in that moment? Like Catherine said, I'd be totally off guard. I'd be like, I can't really remember.
Yeah.
I would probably like be in some awkward lie or something. Because nobody teaches you how to do that.
No. Professing stupidity is always a good way to go. You know, I don't remember. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Oh, we never really knew that. I really don't know. I am. And then people just think you're dim and not dishonest.
And it's fine with you because you got out of it.
Tell you, more and more I don't remember is the truth. So people will buy it.
Yeah.
But it's terrible. And I've said things in front of my children that I wish I could take back. I don't know if it bothers them or not, but it bothers me that they were standing right there when I was saying things. And but then did you immediately go back and apologize to your daughter for having divulged that sensitive information, Catherine?
No.
Or is she going to be finding out about it if she ever hears this podcast?
Well, she's in South America right now, so I think we're good. And
there you go.
No, I didn't want to confess, and maybe she wouldn't care, I mean, she's amongst her friends, of course, they're all swapping this information. So I don't know. And I talked
maybe
about she was going to take it again and get a better score. Which is her plan.
And some part of your brain is yelling, shut up, stop.
While another
and the
part
words just keep tumbling out.
Another part is yelling, I can't believe you just said that. To both of us. Like, to the person who asked and to myself. I'm like, what just happened? Oh, no. Like, why? How does that come out of your mouth? Like,
it's awful. And it's like there are things like, with the adoption and the special needs stuff, you don't want to act like you're ashamed or that you're hiding things or that it's embarrassing or that there's something wrong with it. And yet at the same time, you want to say this is private, this is personal, it's not everybody's business, but that carries a message,
Right.
It's like,
well, and you also
if there's nothing wrong with it, why can't people know about it? Why shouldn't we just tell everybody? So I still am wrestling with that as I, talk about it on podcasts and write blog posts and books.
Well, you also could be helping people by educating them.
Yes.
And, sometimes people's questions come from a place of, I'm interested in adoption or whatever,
Yeah.
This is what I tell myself, yes. This is how I sleep at night to the extent that I do.
I mean, it would be better if they prefaced it with, I'm interested in adoption. Would you be willing to tell me some of your story?
In a purely theoretical manner.
Right.
Yeah. It's a little fraught.
It is. But, and also things like with teachers, there are things that maybe you want them to know or you need them to know, but you don't, you want them to keep it confidential.
That's right.
Right.
But, you want them to keep it confidential. I mean, schools have a whole structure of confidentiality for stuff, but at the same time, there's things that it would be good for the cafeteria lady to know. It's like, there's a whole infrastructure that says we do not share any of this information, but then my kid gets in trouble because these other people in the school building don't know what his thing is. So then I would just make copies of all the confidential information and pass it out. Here's one for you. Here's one for you.
Enjoy, everyone, please.
And then there's too much information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also have, not in that particular situation about private information, but when you're having a conversation and you have that sort of pathological need to fill a conversational void, and so you're just casting around your brain for stuff and you put something out there and then you think, well, that wasn't a good thing to put out there. Can I have that back? Can we rewind time? Why did I feel the need to even come up with that tidbit of information?
Right.
It was just filling a gap. It was just, what can I say? What can I say? What can I say? Oh, yeah, this. So I wasn't even asked. I just offered it. I put it on a plate and passed it over.
Even worse, right?
Yeah. Shut up, Mom. Shut up.
I mean, and do you, should I have gone back and said to my daughter that this had happened and I'm sorry? In this case, I feel like she was better just not knowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because she doesn't have to think about it or stew about it because she doesn't know what happened. But, maybe I'm just saying that so to get myself off the hook.
But you're beating it up. You're beating yourself up over it for her. Okay. So it's all good. I feel like we should give our kids coupons to say, good for saying one embarrassing thing about me to your friends or my friends or on the internet.
To make up for.
There should be some reciprocity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But maybe they are. We don't know. Maybe we're the talk of Snapchat.
It's quite possible.
You won't believe what my mom did.
Anybody specifically asked me anything of late. I mean, especially with, the whole SAT thing and then Josh writing the MCAT and nobody's really sort of come out. They've tried to allude to things, but I think for the most part, everyone's being pretty respectful of that's, if people want to share, that's great. And if people don't, that's fine too. But
are you speaking only of the Canadians of your acquaintance or is this true of Californians also?
I'm talking about my circle of people here in California. Okay. So, yes, they do, they are mindful.
Well, good for them.
But there is a whole other level of it's not so much scores, but there's definitely a whole other level. And I don't know if Catherine experiences this, but what activities is your child in? What leadership activities do they do? It's all the stuff around it. It's not like a direct... Because they know that asking about a direct score is wrong. but they'll like try and, you know, what leadership activities are they involved with? And, you know, have they gotten any, you know, award, or not awards, but, you know, like you know, did they start any clubs in school? Are they part of any clubs? Right. So there's all this other kind of sneaky ways around it. I think the people in my world are less straightforward and more devious.
Great.
Well, there's something to that. Is there some degree that you would like to be able to ask other people what their kids' test scores in, but you're just too well-mannered to, or do you really not care?
I don't care, because it doesn't affect me or my kid. You know, I mean, maybe it affects their class rank or something, but that's not their test score.
You're not curious as to how it compares to your kids?
Maybe a little, but I really feel like it's not relevant. You know, I mean, you know what has been irking me though is how come they got into that college and my daughter didn't?
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking.
That's what irks me.
There's got to be some small part. More there needs to be some like we're talking about a way to tell other parents what they're doing wrong anonymously, so that they don't have to actually be facing anybody. Some way that you could just find out things without having to actually talk to anybody. A little black market on test scores.
Yeah.
Find some kid who's good at hacking and slip them some money.
Did you find, Nicole, that just the whole college application process, there was a lot of curiosity and questioning and nosiness, I would think.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So that's where, I mean, like, nobody asked direct scores, but even it was all kind of alluding to and, you know, oh, was your daughter at the awards banquet last night?
Man.
Yeah, like it's all that kind of stuff. It's not direct. It's just very indirect. And, you know, oh, yeah, you know, my daughter, she got the scholarship for this and she got a scholarship for that. So, you know, like
my daughter, she had so many awards, she couldn't carry the ball. It was such a problem. We had to find other people to tote some of them to the car.
Yeah, it's very much stuff like that.
The parent version of the humble brag.
I just, for myself, for my own part, I don't, like I said, I don't really care about other people's test scores and even like what schools did they get into or not get into, but I definitely want to know where they're going. I'm super curious about that.
Yeah.
You can make sure your kid goes someplace else.
No, I just want to know. Like, just knowing more and more people each year that are seniors. I'm just very nosy about where they're going. And I'm not judging about where it is. You know, I'm just curious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think we all are. And that's kind of the whole unfolding of senior year, because you've seen these kids on this certain track all their lives, and you kind of are interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
You know, like who was the, you know, superstar of middle school and high school and got scholarships and awards and a super high SAT, but has decided to stay in town and go to community college. So, yeah, it's very, that's kind of the interesting part. It's like, how are these things playing out?
Right.
So,
well, I feel like tomorrow this factors into our discussion of Big Little Lies, because there's a lot of, you know, curiosity about other people's lives that happens.
Yes. It's a good setup.
Well, and I'm looking forward to talking about that. But until then, that's it for today's round 1. And tune in tomorrow for our entertainment-themed round 2, and later in the week to find out what we're complaining about, obsessing about, and recommending right now. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.